Hey everybody, this is Carole and Kim of the Dance Diaries. Welcome to episode 1 of a wonderful podcast that we are so excited to share with you and the world.
I am so excited, Carole. Welcome everyone. This is our first episode and we are so excited to share all of our stories, all of our, passion about dance with all of you. Everything positive, everything happy. It's going to be fun, hilarious, informative, and more.
Absolutely. And I just feel like we have such different and interesting backgrounds to share, which is why we got together. It just so happened organically, and we're so excited to get together. Right. My background is probably more in being in gymnastics, rhythmic gymnastics, and sort of jazz dancing. Kim, what's your background?
I'm a classical ballerina, 15 years of ballet. Don't get too excited because, folks, I was always in the group number 3, if you know what that means. Just very athletic. I was into sports. I played softball and field hockey as well growing up and things like that. So always active. But for real, dance just seems to be in the blood. It just doesn't go away. And we're going to talk a lot about that. Why are we so passionate about dance? And more importantly, I think the world of pro-am ballroom dancing, right, Carole?
Absolutely. So that is a little bit of the difference, because Kim and I both have been doing pro-am ballroom dancing for some time. I've been doing it for almost 13 years.
Yes.
And you started now how long?
So 7 years. So 2016. Yeah. Does that make it 7 years? Yeah, 7 years. So you're a little bit longer, and you have a little bit more vast experience and different experiences with different instructors and things like that. My experience is more not as vast, but still coming from different perspectives, but then lots of similar perspectives as well, I think, right?
Absolutely. And I feel like what I want to share is just my joy of dance, because when I get out, I really do enjoy being on a dance floor. I love meeting the different people that are in the studio, and it just gives me such tremendous happiness. And I just want to be able to share that. And often, with the hype on ballroom dancing, with whether it's Dancing with the Stars or other sort of dance programs that you see out there, it has become mainframe, or I don't know what you want to call it, but you know what I mean. It's just becoming everyday commonplace. And I think a lot of people, especially my friends that ask me a lot about it that don't know, want to know more. And so that's why I'd like to do this with you.
If we can help someone to not make all of the mistakes that we made and guide someone into some of the better experiences that we did experience, that would be great. So I would love to share a little bit, I think, about what the podcast is about, and how I think that we're going to run it, right? So we're going to have different topics, and we're going to have different segments of different topics. So it could be a series of 3 weeks or 4 weeks, right, Carole? Maybe even longer, that we're on one topic.
Yes.
That will just take a deep dive. And by the way, guys, please like and subscribe if you're interested in hearing more and seeing more about what we have to offer.
Comments too, because we can only think about the topics that are important to you. And so while we might have some great ideas, whether it is costuming or styles of dance or just what it's like to even enter a studio, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. Yeah. I mean, we would love in the comments to hear the things that matter most to you as an audience member. And so when you like and subscribe, just please make sure that you share your comments with us and
questions.
Yes, exactly.
Questions. And we are going to try to really, if you guys comment and ask questions, and if you have a specific topic that you'd like us to talk about, we're going to really try to get to everyone's questions and everyone's comments and concerns. We're going to do our best. Also, I think this is going to be a great addition too. We're going to have some amazing guest speakers as well, running the gamut from the amateur, ballroom everyday dancer like us to perhaps maybe even some judges, adjudicators, and,
I would just,
who knows,
friends of ours that have been ballroom dancing for some time. I love to get their perspective because it really gives a vast variety of people from all kinds of backgrounds, which has been, I have to tell you, one of the most impactful reasons why I have loved doing pro and ballroom dancing is the different people I've met from everywhere. It's all walks of professional life to social, and it's
different
just
cultures.
And I find that
countries.
has helped open my eyes to the possibilities, right?
Yes,
100%. So we interview them, like you said, some coaches, instructors, fellow instructors, people that are just out on the scene, those that just want to learn more. That we might sit with someone who might ask us questions, who might just want to know a little more about it.
So we're also open to that, suggestions of who you might want to see on our podcast. Let us know, and we'll do our best to try to make that happen, right? So, question for you, Carole. What was your, if you don't mind me asking, what was your impetus? What got you involved initially in ballroom dancing? What attracted you?
I think in the early years, I'm saying I'm in this for about 13 years. I think that the Dancing with the Stars show has been on TV probably 15, 16 years. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was not a stay-at-home mom, but I worked from home and I had young kids. And so as I was out, I remember passing by Fred Astaire's studio, actually. And on the signs of the studio, it talked about whether you can come in for 2 to 3 lessons and give it a try. And so I kept driving by the studio, and I thought that was very interesting. But really the main reason that I started to dance is that I saw a picture of a fabulous woman. She looked like an older woman that was fully dressed in a ballroom costume. And I come to learn that it was Tal Portia Lynch, who, God rest her soul, she danced till she was 100 years old. Yeah. And she fascinated me on how beautiful and invigorating she was. I read her story sort of in a blog, and it talked about how she started dancing at the age of 85. And so if she can do it, I can do it. And it's from there that I just joined the studio. And I'll talk more about that. How about you? How did you get
And just a sidebar, Tal and one of your initial instructors, didn't they go to Dancing with the Stars?
They didn't dance. They did America's Got
Talent. That's right.
That's right. We can put a link below if you're interested in seeing what they did. But and that was quite something. That was quite an amazing performance.
Yeah. So for me, it was a little different. I took a couple of ballroom lessons, and I did one short, very small competition a long time ago when my kids were very, very little, and I stopped and didn't really, and I wanted to continue. I just didn't, for whatever reasons. And then fast forward, I was working with someone who at the time was heading up a charity event, and it was a Dancing with the Stars charity event. She was sitting on the board, and she was looking for, dancers to donate their time. And at that time, my business partner, when this was mentioned, my business partner kind of just looked at me, and I said, "No, I don't do that type of dancing. I'm a ballerina, And this woman said, "No, you're doing it." And I said, "Okay." And I took the challenge. And so my studio and my instructor donated 5 lessons for us to do a show dance at this charity event. And we did the show dance, and then my studio was, trying to get me involved. And I said, "Guys, I don't really, where am I going to do ballroom dancing? Who's going to ballroom dance with me?" So it didn't make sense.
That's a common question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize the idea. A lot of people think that you need to arrive with a partner, and that's just simply not true. So first tip, everyone, when you join a studio, it's okay to go alone. It's okay to come in because they've got professional instructors there that will help teach you. If you have someone that you can go with, even better. That's really lovely, but it's not a requirement.
Exactly. It's not a requirement. And so when I guess my studio owner at the time knew that I had a competitive type spirit and mentioned something about a competition, and I said, "Now you're speaking my language." So right away I did their showcase, the studio showcase that I had to prepare for in 3 weeks, and learned 3 dances and add 30 seconds to my dance. And, for me, it was it was just the challenge, and it still is. So I go to the studio and I leave everything outside, and I don't care what's going on in the outside world. So for me, it's just, that, and it's always working towards something, I think.
I'd say that that feeling is also something I felt from the very beginning. I always made a point to have a regular lesson once I joined. It was on a regular schedule. And once I arrived in the studio, I could really turn away anything else that was to be a distraction. And I think you should really embrace that when you
if
first
nothing
start
else,
learning
but
dance.
for that 45 minutes, or for me, I do a doubles because I live a little bit farther from the studio, so I make it worth it. So for that hour and a half, and I always say it takes me 45 minutes to warm up anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole bunch of different reasons why we started and why we stayed and why we continued, right?
So what I think I'm going to talk a bit about probably my first 3 months. How's that? 3 to 6 months.
Sure.
I think it's important for someone who's new coming into ballroom dancing. I remember it like it was yesterday. Because I think we each have a different journey about how fast we accelerated into whatever we personally all want to get out of that. But what I truly discovered upon entry is that normally I wasn't quite sure what I would be learning to dance. Often you'll be asked, well, what do you prefer? Do you like to do Latin dancing? Did you want to learn how to do a waltz or something that's more smooth related? Or, often a studio owner, as you arrive, will ask your preferences and will want to get to know that. I didn't quite know, so they did put me with 2 different people to offer both styles. And of course, I love both right away.
And
that's really lovely. But I do remember how quickly I picked up these dances. So you don't know that, right? So you arrive and you're not quite sure. And I think dancing is for everybody a different abilities and styles. Like when you go in, there's no pressure to the speed in which you need to learn, right? So, I mean, obviously you're going to work with a professional that's going to help teach you sort of what they call a syllabus and things like that. But before we get into all that, I was more into what's in the studio. I arrived, there were pictures of people who were dancing from years gone by. They had things on the wall that would show, memories that they had of past showcases. And so I could see that there was some, what do you call that? There's history, excitement. Obviously, when you arrive too, you're going to meet and see other people dancing. So sometimes like you came early to warm up, or I would watch someone else. I found it, amazing. And so from my experience, I started like that. And then over, I'd say a 0 to 6 month period, certainly learned, I would say, American rhythm, which is cha-cha, rumba, bolero, mambo,
and American swing.
And East Coast swing. Those were 5 great dances, and they would teach, at the time, the bronze level steps that that would be my first 6 months at the time, even if not even longer, is learning how to do closed style American rhythm dancing. That's how I spent my beginning time.
So interesting. Mine was rather different because I initially started the show dance, right? And then jumped into the showcase like just only several weeks later. So that required, learning 2 more show dance type dances. And then shortly after that, I prepared right away for the world competition in Las Vegas, which was my first competition.
World competition. Okay. That did not happen to me. World competition. Why? Where? How much time was it before you went to a world competition?
Okay, then. I started, I stepped into the studio May 25th, 2016. 1 week, it was 5 lessons. So about a week or 10 days later, we did the charity event. About 10 days after that, so it was like the early part of June, we did the showcase, and the world competition was at the end of July in Las Vegas. So it was about 2 months of preparation.
So
time.
if I were to take it back, your showcase, describe what a showcase is, because often in studios, like when I was explaining, I did the 5 styles of American rhythm. Inside of that, I remember my first event was an in-studio team match, and I was a little nervous for that, but I remember, getting dressed up, and it was for me, the first time was a little intimidating, but I would say that I really enjoyed it, and it was sort of the starting point to where I would eventually get where you are at a world event, but I didn't do that till probably, I'd say, a couple of years later.
Yeah. So our studio showcase, we only did 2 or 3 years like this, and haven't done it like this before. But at that time, we did it at the Emlyn Theater in Mamaroneck. So it was a real production event. We had guests coming, coming specifically at the theater, and it was a themed event. And I forget at that time what the theme was, like I don't know, 80s Uptown Girl or something.
See, I like that.
Yeah.
Themes were big in all my years of dancing, and I find that was what made it all so exciting too. I love to perform. So
I love to perform too. So, and what was great about that is it's because I was the new girl on the block. I mean, I had only been there a couple of weeks, and I was really, really intimidated. And I just remember, getting up on the stage. I came for the Saturday, the Sunday. I didn't really know anybody's name. They were all kind of like, "Who's this girl?" But then when we did we went to the Emlyn Theater to do our performance, and I was so nervous. And I remember being behind stage and asking everyone, "Can you guys just repeat those steps with me again?" And everybody was so nice.
Is that because you had a group number?
Yeah, we had group numbers that we had to perform. Yes, I think we had 3 group numbers or something, and they were everybody was so helpful and just so embracing and loving and supportive. And I was like, you don't get that so much in the outside world, and that's where I began to really know that I was where I wanted to be,
I mean, I know the buzzwords these days, it talks about being authentic and all that. I would say at a studio or when I'm dancing is probably the place where I demonstrate that the most. And I'd say I certainly am who I am.
You're a dynamo on stage.
You're like, but I would say that's where I feel so amazing.
Yes.
And so for anybody who's thinking, do I join a studio? What do I do? Do I want to take lessons? I find it is an absolute amazing opportunity to transform into something that's even more amazing. So if you know that you have an interest or an inkling to do a little more and be around like-minded people, because that's a big deal, right? It's no different than being involved in any other clubs that you're in. I find that it's certainly a great group of people that love to do like-minded things. So.
And there's so many, not that we're selling dancing, I guess everyone who's listening to our podcast today has a connection to dance, right? So it's not anyone really in the outside world. So we're not really selling dancing. We're just giving you so many benefits that we have discovered. There's just so many benefits, for your mood and for your brain and for, just for me, again, it's giving me something. There's always something to learn. Every single time I step into that studio, I'm learning something else, and I'm challenged with something else, But I think also the physical benefits of it.
For me, it's been the creative outlet. I've had a job over the years where I've worked remotely, traveled a lot for my work. And as a result, I do a lot of sitting a lot throughout the day, right? So when I do get out to dance, I get to move around.
Yes.
I'm not on, a meeting. I am out doing some creative outlet. I love the music aspect of it. I love the performance aspect. Also, because I'm a fitness enthusiast, I enjoy the challenge of learning the technical parts of the steps. That actually probably mirrors a bit about what I do at work. But I like the technical aspect of learning. Why does the body move that way? What is the timing in which you have to do some things with the movements? And, what is the proper footwork that's involved with that? Hip work, arm work, facial reactions, facial and posture. There's just so many good reasons.
So much. Yeah,
there is. But I did learn that from the very beginning, because my instructors would certainly want to embody and teach you well from the very beginning.
Yeah. So thinking we will have an agenda, right? Or some sort of...
So there's a checklist of some items if you're looking to join a studio. Certainly we'll add a link down below where you can get a free checklist on the things that you should be looking for if you're wondering, where should I go and what should I do? There are plenty of franchise places you can go. Independent studios are all kinds available.
We'll talk about the difference between those and the benefits.
But if it's more, if you want to learn about the different styles of dance, this checklist will have the, what is on there, and might recommend a few videos that you go watch just to sort of see, or even ours if you want. We can post a few if you want to see what we do. But remember, we're just
we're amateurs. Amateurs are not pros. We're amateurs. But and that's all the fun. I can post some. I have some videos. Do you have videos of like in studio practice where you mess up?
I do.
Yeah.
I laugh. Actually, I call them the bloopers. I have 2 reels that I put out there. I have the Lost Archives that I push out. So it's old videos that I'll put on Facebook stories or reels that I'll put out there every so often.
Yeah.
30 seconds, real quick clips. And then the bloopers make me laugh because I will stop and I'll just like cover my face, or it's either hilarious laughing, or frustration, shameful lifts that I've done where we've gotten stuck and it's just terrible. I mean, there's so
much information to be had and given, and very, very exciting.
Exactly.
So
Episode one,
guys.
Dance
like
Diaries.
and subscribe and be on the lookout for more, because there is so much more. We're going to talk about the physical aspect, the mindset aspect of it,
the technical, the fun, the creative, and the showcase part of it, which I really love. So
and the costuming as well, and what to wear during practice, the do's and don'ts, etiquette. There's just so much.
And that's what we're going to learn.
Stay tuned.
All right. Thanks.
Till next time.
Bye.